now yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Woodall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for those 5 minutes. I don't know if you're going to go around for a second round of questions. I find when I want to spend my first 4.5 minutes making a point, it's tough to get to the good witnesses after that. I had something of value across the board. Ms. Pohl, I wanted to start with you. Did it ever dawn on you when you thought about what Congress was doing as we were trying our very best to get good tax policy, that when you read about those committee hearings, that it would be one witness from one side of the aisle and then maybe 3 witnesses or more from the other side of the aisle? Or did you think that it was not a stacked deck, but an even playing field, just from a distance back home?
No, I wouldn't have expected that.
I wouldn't have either, and it's certainly the way we ran the place when we were running it, and it's the way it is now. And I think that's a shame on some issues like this. I heard you say specifically you made different business decisions, positive business decisions for your employees because of the passage of the tax bill. I heard other witnesses say unequivocally that they worried employees were disadvantaged, not by the tax bill in general, but specifically because of those pass-through provisions that were targeted at your business. And that is a legitimate concern. Everybody cares about employees. Do you have a more valuable resource in your business than your employees? I mean, can you just go out and find new talent if you lose the talent that you have today?
No, absolutely not. We've got some specifics with truck drivers especially. I just lost one to a death. I'm going to have a hard time finding somebody in that position, and they are valuable. We welcome them to the Giddings family when we hire anybody, because that's what they are. They're our family, and they're our salespeople.
Not surprisingly, Dr. Gale made a good point when he distinguished between small businesses and young businesses. It's not about maintaining a business model that's failing. It's about growing a business model and providing more opportunity in the community. Not to put you on the spot, we hadn't talked about this. You come from a serial entrepreneur family. Would you describe yourself as a small business or as a young and growing business?
I would say we're young and growing yet. We're looking forward to more expansion.
I think of one of my constituent companies, Boehringer Ingelheim. It's a family-owned business, started in 1885. They have been a young and growing business since 1885. It's now a multinational company. They can do business anywhere in the world they want to do business. They just brought an additional 225 jobs to Georgia. This is a animal health sciences company. These are high-paying jobs. This is not a $15 an hour job, which is a great job to get. These are 6-figure jobs that could have gone to Europe, could have gone to Asia, and are coming to America instead, because folks have a choice. Multinationals do have a choice. If you wanted to pick your business up and move it to Europe or Asia, I suspect that would be a much more challenging model. I want to think about the women-owned businesses that Ms. Bruckner referenced. She's absolutely right. We crafted the tax code to focus on capital-intensive businesses because, Dr. Gale may be able to speak to this, because we believe that capital-intensive businesses had a higher multiplier effect. But yes, more small businesses are service-oriented businesses. When you think about your peers in leadership back home, have you heard that concern before? Folks who said, golly, those capital-intensive small business owners did get a special break that I didn't get in my service business?
I'm not really hearing as much of that, and at least in Iowa. I also belong to NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners, and so I've been active in that for a while. And a lot of what we're finding is when we're building, when the large companies are building, when we're building small businesses, we actually use their services. And so, I think it's helping out all the way through. And of course, I look at using women business owners, and I support that.
Candidly, I have not read the $1 Billion Blind Spot. I'm now going to have to think through that, because I thought that was a perfectly legitimate criticism. And I wish, Mr. Chairman, we had more time to actually talk about individual improvements, what Dr. Gale said about generational inequities. I think that's critically important that we talk about. Dr. Kotlikoff has talked about that on a regular basis in terms of how we measure tax input. And one thing that I'd like to get us to get back to, Mr. Chairman, lots of talk about consumers and lower income families being the stimulative effect in a tax cut. Certainly that is true, except the Tax Policy Center reports that the bottom quintile is, bottom 20% is paying a negative tax rate today for income taxes. The bottom 40% are paying a negative income tax rate today. I would be interested to come back and have the conversation. Of course, those dollars are stimulative. Should we do it through the tax code, or should we do it through the income support spending level? I'm one of those, Dr. Gale, as you are, that believe tax expenditures should be measured as spending programs, not as tax programs, and we have not accurately measured those in the past, Mr. Chairman. I look forward to that partnership.
Thank you for the idea. We'll consider that. Thank you.